Hey, breaking news, everybody. Baker Mayfield is not coming to Detroit. It's Locked On Lions.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And a hey-o, what's going on, everybody? Matt Dery with you, Locked On Lions on the Locked On Podcast Network on a Wednesday, beautiful Wednesday, July 6th and a Thursday, July 7th. Yes, we talk Detroit Lions football with you. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day right here on the podcast. Matt Dery with you. I think I already said that. Thank you for joining us and appreciate you listening and watching, making us your first listen. Yes, we're on YouTube. Please subscribe to the show and watch us each and every day on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter at Dery Speaks, D-E-R-Y Speaks, at Locked On Lions on Twitter, and also the Matt Dery Facebook fan page. Coming up on the show today, well, first of all, tomorrow, Pro Football Focus's Brad Spielberger is going to join us. Brad is the salary cap expert and salary cap analyst for PFF. Seen a lot of articles lately about, the Lions offense is the most expensive in the NFL, all these things. We're going to ask Brad about it tomorrow and about where the Lions are cap-wise, how healthy they look, salary cap-wise, because that's not my bread and butter. But I'm going to have Brad on tomorrow from Pro Football Focus, and we'll talk salary cap and Lions with Brad tomorrow. Today on the show, yes, Mike Florio is back at it again, although it's over. It's over. Baker Mayfield talked to Detroit, coming from Florio at Pro Football Talk, and I like Florio. I'm a fan. But sometimes he says some of the dumbest stuff when it comes to the Lions. We can finally put that to rest. I will explain momentarily. Also, Vegas odds are out at BetOnline on our buddy DeAndre Swift. Over-unders on some stats. Let me give you some stats. DeAndre Swift stats for this year. We'll give you those on the show today. Also, Jeff Risdon wrote a great piece at Lions Wire today about sack numbers and the Lions having the worst sack numbers in the NFL going back 3 years. And it's just a stat that it blows your mind and kind of goes to show why this football team for the last few years has not been able to win enough games, especially when the defense lets them down because they can't get to the quarterback. So we'll have all that for you coming up on the program today. Again, appreciate your listenership. If you're new to the show, welcome. If you've been commenting on YouTube, thank you for doing so. Tell your friends, tell your Lion friends, fan friends. Hey, Matt Dery does this show 4 days a week. When we get to the regular season, 5 days a week. You should check it out, Locked On Lions. We've been doing this since 2016. I was telling somebody a story today. My buddy Jeremy Garrett was telling the story today about Locked On Lions and how we started. And David called me up in the summer of 2016 and saying he wanted to start the network, and now it's awesome. So we've been doing great, and appreciate your listenership and viewership as well on YouTube. Okay, so today I wake up, and the first thing I'm reading is Mike Florio at ProFootballTalk.com last night wrote a piece late about Baker Mayfield and will he end up in either Seattle or Carolina. Reports sharply conflicted on whether Seahawks want Baker Mayfield. This was posted last night by Mike Florio at near midnight. He talked about the scenarios and what if he ends up in Carolina, but they drafted Matt Corral, and what about his salary and who would be paying that and all of these things. And at the very end, let me just get to this, and then obviously there was some news on Mayfield I want to get to. At the very end, Florio writes, quote, regardless, if someone else truly believes in Baker Mayfield, and if Mayfield is all in with that team, they should just go ahead and do it. If it works, the extra stuff they have to surrender via trade compensation or salary won't matter. If they wait too long, it will become harder to make it work, and they may not get him at all. Yes, Detroit Lions, I'm talking directly to you. End quote. That was this morning from Mike Florio. The Lions were never trading for Baker freaking Mayfield. Why, Mike, have you been continuing to hop on this bus every chance you get. Now, today, to put this to bed, Baker Mayfield has been traded from the Cleveland Browns to the Carolina Panthers for a conditional 5th-round pick in 2024. The Browns are also picking up $10 million of his salary. The Panthers are picking up $5 million, and Baker is giving back $3 million. He's basically tearing it up. He is saying, I don't have to play for 18.8 this year. I'll play for 15. 10 the Browns pay. The Browns, this is like a scene from Moneyball. Do you remember when Billy Bean or Brad Pitt was talking to David Justice? And Dave Justice said, I'm a $7 million. Yeah, I am kind of special. Billy, I make $7 million a year. Brad Pitt, Billy Bean goes, you only make $3 million a year here. The Yankees are paying $4 million for you to play against them. The Browns are going to pay Baker Mayfield $10 million to play against them in week 1 when the Browns have to go down to Carolina to play the Panthers. And as somebody from Cleveland who's grown up a Cleveland fan, and I'm no longer a Browns fan, I'm a Lions fan, but when I was a Browns fan and I sat in the stadium in 1986, January of 87, and watched John Elway when I was 13 years old go down the field from right to left in section 37, 98 yards to tie the game. So the Browns could not go to the Super Bowl in 1986. Trust me when I tell you, if you are a betting man, you might as well put some money down on Carolina because Baker Mayfield is likely going to light the Browns on fire in that game. That's just what happens in Cleveland sports. It's the same as me hiking down to Comerica Park twice this week to watch my team get blitzed, tattooed, and destroyed by the AAA Detroit Tigers. Give the Tigers credit. They were great this week. And Riley Green is very good. But they hit the ball, pitched, and caught the ball. And the Guardians, Tribe, Indians, whatever you want to call them, did none of those things. But I digress. I just want to say one more time. Now that the story is fresh today, I like Mike Florio, but I have no idea what he's talking about. Why would the Detroit Lions, who love Jared Goff, who are paying Jared Goff $30 million this year, why would they go after Baker Mayfield, who, number one, is not that good, number two, is a distraction and has been off the field, a headache at times in Cleveland, and number three, we know who the ownership is here in Detroit. They don't take those kind of risks here. That is not what Sheila Hamp, her mom, Mrs. Ford, the sisters, anybody does here. The Lions are very, very squeaky clean when it comes to their roster. And they don't take a lot of risks. They draft nice guys. They draft team players. They're drafting guys that fit the culture. Why would you go out and sign or trade for a quarterback that is not a culture fit? I don't know why Mike Florio wrote that today. I don't know why he just seemingly kept saying, Lions got to go get him. Lions got to do this. Look, if he was still out of work and it was week 5 and Goff got hurt, or Goff was so bad that the Lions knew that the quarterback situation needed to be addressed, maybe. And I got news for you. Those of you that are already writing and putting out on Twitter, should the Lions go out and get to trade for Sam Darnold to be the backup? That's not happening either. If Sam Darnold were any good, the Panthers wouldn't have traded for Baker Mayfield. Yes, the Lions' backup quarterback position stinks. Tim Boyle, no good. David Blau, no good. But they're not going to trade assets for Sam Darnold. Why would they do that? They're not doing that. It's not happening. So there's my Mayfield, Darnold, Lions quarterback recap. Again, I'm not picking on Mike Florio. I know Mike and I got a little spat on Twitter months ago. I like Mike. I think he's good at what he does. He's built an empire at PFT. Michael David Smith, that's our boy. We've had him on the show numerous times from Pro Football Talk. I just don't understand why he was hung up on this Baker to Detroit thing, because that was not happening. All right, coming up next, some numbers on DeAndre Swift. We'll play a little game of over, under, and what you think will happen to DeAndre this season with your Honolulu Blue and Silver Gladiators. But first, let's talk about Built Bar. From the people who invented healthy and tasty comes the latest gift for your taste buds, ladies and gentlemen. You've probably tried the amazing coconut brownie chunk Built Bar. I have. I think it's the best. Now, guess what? Your friends at Built have given coconut brownie chunk The Puffs treatment. That's right. The great marshmallow puffs from Built now have coconut brownie chunk puffs. Deliciously chewy marshmallow covered in 100% real chocolate. It's like a fluffy cloud, say that 3 times fast, of coconut brownie goodness. But stop drooling and listen. They're good for you. Low calorie, low sugar, high protein, and they're all delicious. Coconut brownie chunk puffs are only here for a limited time, so go to Built.com now to make sure you don't miss out. They're going to be going fast because they taste amazing. All Built bars are made with collagen protein, which your body absorbs more efficiently and provides tons of health benefits. Eat something that tastes good and is good for you. Built bars and Built puffs are awesome too. Coconut rich, sweet brownie, creamy marshmallow. It's all there for you. Go out and buy right now. Get a box of the coconut brownie chunk Built Puffs. Go to Built.com. Use promo code LOCKED15. That's LOCKED 15. And get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15. All right, back on a Wednesday edition of Locked On Lions, July the 6th. Brad Spielberger from PFF Tomorrow will join us on the show. We're trying to get Colton Pouncey on the show, too, the new Lions beat writer for theathletic.com, as we gave a little nice goodbye to Chris Burke yesterday, who's leaving the beat to work on the draft stuff at The Athletic. All right, our friends at betonline.ag today have come out with running back stats for the season. Odds, opening stats for NFL running backs. DeAndre Swift of your Detroit Lions is featured here. Over under. You ready? Let's play a little game here. Over under rushing and receiving yards total for the 2022 regular season for DeAndre Swift. Over under. So this is rushing and receiving. 1,300.5 yards. Now, let's play a little comparison. Let's compare it to, let's say, Aaron Jones. Okay? Aaron Jones, over under rushing and receiving yards for the season, also 1,300.5 yards. Alvin Kamara, 1,250.5 yards. How about that? Now, Christian McCaffrey, 1,450.5. But very comparable. DeAndre Swift with Aaron Jones, and actually right on par and more than an Alvin Kamara. Interesting. Will I go over or under 1,300.5? I'm going to go under because I don't trust that he's going to be healthy for the whole season. If he plays in 17 games, yes, over, but I don't think he's going to. I think if you're going to bet on that, you would bet on the under. And not because Swift isn't going to be really good. I think he's going to be, but I don't know if he's going to achieve 1,300.5 total yards rushing and receiving. That would mean maybe he'd be like a 700 or 7,000. No, let's do this again. 700 rushing yards for the season and 600 receiving yards. Right? Yeah. I think if he's healthy, yes, but I would have to bet the under. I don't know if he's going to be healthy or not. All right. DeAndre Swift rushing and receiving touchdowns this season. Total touchdowns for Swift this year, 8.5. Over under 8.5 for Swift. Aaron Jones of the Packers, 9.5. Alvin Kamara, 10.5. Austin Eckler, 13. Christian McCaffrey, 10.5. DeAndre Swift, I'm going to say over 8.5 touchdowns. I think that's a little low, actually. I would take DeAndre Swift total touchdowns because it's either going to be rushing or receiving. It's not like he's going to have a kick return. Maybe he will, or maybe a pass, like a halfback pass. I'm going over 8.5 rushing and receiving touchdowns this year for DeAndre Swift. Now, again, The Lions, when they go jumbo and they're in the red zone, they have occasionally handed the football to Jamal Williams. I could see that. I could see a Jamar Jefferson or a Craig Reynolds. Come on, Craig. Godwin Igwebuike, somebody like that getting some touches. But I'll go over. I think DeAndre Swift in the slot on some passing downs. I think DeAndre Swift out of the backfield, breaking one, maybe a little wheel route. I would go over 8.5 touchdowns for DeAndre Swift, rushing and receiving from our friends at betonline.ag. Your thoughts on this on Twitter, hit me up, Dery Speaks, at Locked On Lions, or comment on YouTube as well. All right, when we come back, some graphic evidence. This is bad news. NFL Inside Edge has sack stats for the last 3 years, and it's not good when talking about the Detroit Lions. It's one of the reasons why Brad Holmes kept Romeo Okwara. Brad Holmes drafted Josh Pascal. Brad Holmes drafted Aiden Hutchinson. Brad Holmes drafted Levi Onwuzurike, Aleem McNeil. D-Line City signed Michael Brock or traded for Michael Brockers, brought him back, all of those things. These numbers are brutal, and they must change for this football team to win some football games in 2022. We'll do that coming up next. All right, so the folks at NFL Inside Edge posted stats from the last 3 seasons. And Jeff Risdon put this on the Lions Wire, lionswire.com. No team has had more games where the defense failed to record at least 3 sacks in a game over the last 3 years than the Detroit Lions. The Lions failed that test in 26 of the 49 regular season games they've played since the start of 2019. So let me give you a little example of the teams that had the most games where they had 3 sacks or more. Pittsburgh, the Rams, the Bucks, the Saints, and the Cardinals. All of those teams have made the playoffs, gone far in the playoffs. Heck, won Super Bowls. Tampa a couple years ago, and the Rams last year. Pittsburgh Steelers have only had 11 games where they failed to record at least 3 sacks in a game over the last 49 games, 3 seasons. The Lions are number 1. They've had 26, like I said, games where they have failed to record at least 3 sacks in a game. Now, some of you are going to go, pressures. It's all about pressures. Yes, if you get your hand up or you pressure a quarterback and he throws an interception, is as good as a sack. I get that. But you know what? When you keep drafting defensive linemen, all right, you keep signing defensive linemen. You bring back somebody like Jared Davis and there's whispers that maybe they'll put him on the edge. All right, you're desperate to get some pressure on the quarterback and put him down. There's something about momentum. There's something about lost yards with a sack. The Lions having 26 games out of 49, more than half of their games with 3 sacks or less, failing to record at least 3 sacks in a game is pathetic. We can sit here and talk about Jeffrey Okudah all day and will Oruwariye be good? And what about the young corners? No. You know how Jeff Okudah is going to get good this year? With a pass rush that will help him. 26 games with less than 3 sacks in a game. Cincinnati was second with 25. Raiders third, batting third with 24. Chargers fourth with 23, and the Bears 22. Last year, the Lions managed 30 sacks in 17 games last year, which was the 3rd fewest in the league. 5 of those 26 were last season. So, boy, 2020 and 2019 were a bleep show. Of course, in 2020, Matt Patricia's last year, the Lions had 24 sacks. This past year, they had 30. So they got a little better, but not much better. The Lions have got to get pressure on the quarterback. Aiden Hutchinson has got to be top-notch. Josh Pascal has got to be inside and outside. Charles Harris, who was a godsend last year, and got a new contract has got to do what he did a year ago and get pressure on the quarterback. Those numbers are pathetic. Pathetic. Absolutely horrible. So that is an indictment of this franchise, and it's something that must change. Think about that. 26 times out of their last 49 games, they couldn't even register 3 sacks in a game. We talked about the Bears being bad and how bad they are, but at least last year, Robert Quinn had 18.5 sacks and had a couple of 3-sack games. That was by one person. So hopefully, with the way this defense is going to be put out there this year, there's going to be more 4-3 looks than a year ago. A lot of 3-4 last year with linebackers and all that. Sounds like they're going to a more 4-3 approach under Aaron Glenn this season. Got to get pressure on the quarterback. Those numbers are brutal. All right, Brad Spielberger coming up from Pro Football Focus tomorrow. We'll talk about the Lions salary cap situation. Thank you for making us your first listen right here on Locked on Lions. We are back again tomorrow.